Hello, everyone. Welcome to my podcast, Out of Office. This podcast is to tell you traveling stories and then inspire people to go on the adventure. And today I'm very happy to welcome Kylie, my first Gen Z person to be on this podcast. Currently lives in Toronto, Canada. Hi, Kylie. First of all, would you mind to introduce a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely, for sure. Hi, everyone, and hi, Chitling. It's my pleasure to be here in your Out Office podcast, Kylie. And that is the first time I was invited to be a guest speaker in a podcast, so very excited. Just a fun fact, I used to make podcasts as well, and I spend like 1 or 2 hours per day listening to podcasts. So yeah, such a pleasure to be here. Feel curious, like I used to make a podcast about like just career, young professionals, so COVID hustling, but we stopped making it now. Yeah, just a 2 cents of marketing. So currently I'm working finance. We know each other from a mutual friend, and she works in the same bank as me. So that's how me and Chilling know each other. About like traveling, like background history. I was like inherited like a traveling gene from my parents. Like before 16, every summer or every year, my family like spend 2 or 3 trips together per year, like just exploring Vietnam. And up until now, I can say like been to 15 plus country. Way back down, I was born and bred in Hanoi, Vietnam. So I'm from the north. Yeah, proud to be a Hanoian. And when I was 18 years old, I moved to Canada, Toronto to finish my undergraduate bachelor. It's like open a totally whole new chapter of my freedom. And then when I was like 20 years old, right before COVID, I was accepted for an exchange program in Malmö, Sweden. So Malmö is like a third largest city in Sweden. It was like it is 30 minutes train to Copenhagen. That was like an eye-opening, life-changing trip back then because I was like traveling a little bit around Europe at that time. That is like a little introduction about myself. Just out of curiosity, I have few friends in Germany, and also heard on the news that like there's an energy crisis in Europe. How is that affected your life right now?
Well, I think now it's just affecting everyone in the country and also everyone else in Europe as well. So as you know, there's a war going on. Energy prices are increasing and inflation is through the roof. But I think that all of our suffering right now because of the inflation is nothing to compare with all of the horrible thing that's happening in the war. Really wish that the war is going to end very soon.
Which part of Germany you are living in?
So I currently live in Berlin. So the east part.
Nice. I just visit Berlin and Halle. But my friend in Germany, they say like it's terrible, like for the grocery shopping in Germany. Like they can't even buy cooking oil.
I think it was 3 months ago. All of the oil become really sacred and people just going everywhere to buy oil. But I think that situation is kind of improving now. Thank you for asking.
Sounds good. Yeah.
So just to sum up, you were born in Hanoi and raised there, and then you moved to Canada, and then you have exchange time period in Europe, specifically Malmö, the city in Sweden. And then you had a chance to go traveling around Europe. My question is, why Europe?
Yes, that's a good question. Like I always envisions myself like spending time traveling like whenever I have free time. Like from school break, like spring break, I just explore the city. So like Toronto, I know it like very handy by hand right for now. So I've been to the US for most of my freshman year in college. Yeah, I like the States, but I want to explore more like other continents, right? So it's a matter of the visa as well. Like, you know, the certification visa, if you got that, you can like go without very like much restrictions. Yeah. So that's why I end up choosing Sweden. I think on the ranking about like two most livable countries in the world, Canada and Sweden. So that's another factor as well. I'm working in finance, but back then I was like clueless. I didn't know which direction I should go to like pursue for my career. And Malmö is well known for its like design, architecture, like just artistic vibe. I was studying like graphic design and like communication back then. So Malmo is like a good destination for that as well.
And how did you like Malmo, also Sweden back then at that time?
To be honest, like the short answer is I didn't enjoy it that much. I've never been to Stockholm, the capital. I just like restricted myself in Malmo. So it's a very it's a lovely city, but it's a little bit more like for older generation. I would say like for the elderly, the population age is very high, and it's a remote area. To be honest, so it's a dual city. Even though they have like a peaceful and artistic vibe, but it was just not for me. So that's why back then, whenever there's like a weekends or some break from school, I just travel outside the country.
So that's why you've been to more city in Europe than in Sweden.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which city were that? All of the city that in Europe that you've been to?
Don't remember. So I suck at geography, but I know the country name. So it's like France, Belgium, Germany, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Switzerland, Denmark. What is Amsterdam, Holland? Netherlands. Yeah, that's what they call in Europe. And what else? Italy. Yeah.
So it's like almost all of Europe already.
Not exactly. I still have some in my bucket list, but like some worth visiting countries. Yes.
So I think it's around 10 countries.
Yeah, around 10-ish. Yeah, 10-ish.
Okay. And it was in how many months, weeks that you've been to this?
Totally 4 months.
Or it's just like a weekend trip that you've been to?
Like the most the longest time I stayed is in Czech Republic because I have some relatives there, and my dad from Hanoi, he visited me back then because he's like having some relatives and friends there. So it's the longest stay that was in Czech, but for the other, just for sightseeing and pleasure. I have friends that host me in some countries, so kind of like easy breeze for me.
I was also in Czech Republic like 3 years ago before the pandemic, and I really love the beer and the food is very cheap, and also the scenery at night is very, very magnificent. I really love it.
Oh, is that Oktoberfest happening right now in Germany? Because we have that here in Canada as well, like the October Beer Fest.
It is currently right now. So I just went there like 2 weeks ago. It was so fun. So it's very hard to imagine that German can be that fun. But in Oktoberfest, you can see that, they all lighting up. And I had to admit that I had a really good time there. Beautiful. You should go there next year.
Yeah, for sure. Like here, I mean, Canada is very like multicultural city, like Toronto, right? So we have a large community of German. That's why they host a like good beer October festival. But I'm not joining, like going to a pumpkin farm right now, like in the next few hours. So yeah, that's the plan.
I think they also produce like a special beer for Oktoberfest. Right. So the beer has to come from München, the city that which originate Oktoberfest. I think they only serve their lager beer, although I'm a fan of dark beer, but their lager beer is still very good.
What about craft beer?
I don't think that they serve craft beer because, like German really likes all of the rules, and they have a lot of rules towards the beer. So only a very famous brewery can produce their beer in Oktoberfest.
Interesting. Thanks for fun fact.
Yeah, a little fun fact. So among those countries in Europe, you stayed the longest in Czech Republic, and for the other country, which one you like the most among them?
Yeah, I got that questions very often. It's very tricky to pick one, but if I have an opportunity to study like for the rest of my life, that will be in Switzerland. So
nice choice.
Like who else doesn't love Switzerland, right? So Lucerne was my destination back then. It's a beautiful like city. I spent around 4 days there. Been to mountain Titlis, some house, and everything was just like I was depressed. I don't want to come back. I joke my friends that just ditch the visa. We're gonna stay here forever. We're not gonna live here. Yeah, if I have a chance, I would spend my retirement there. But it's
Mm.
super expensive and costly. People are so nice. There's like a fun story. Like back then, the iPhone 11 just released, and I bought like a brand new iPhone back then. But I'm a careless and clumsy person, so I dropped it somewhere and like exploring the city. But it had a SIM card there, right? So when I call the number, people don't speak English that fluent. They speak German, I believe, some of the part of Luzern. So there's the difficulty in communication. But the moral of the story, I got that bike from people. It's a brand new iPhone. Like they could easily ditch out the SIM and use it, right? But yeah, people super friendly and nice. That is one like very like perfect impression I embedded myself in Luzern. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing the story. And did you go there because of the movie Crash Landing on You?
Actually, I'm not quite a K-drama fan. Like I don't watch Crash Landing on You. But my friend, she took me to that lake when they filmed the scene of Crash Landing on You. I went there in the end of December, so the scenery is not as breathtaking as they were in the movie. But I would say we have a great time there.
Yeah, I also went there a short time in Switzerland, and also my impression for Switzerland is that people are so nice and everyone seems to be, like in a calm mood. And even when you're looking at the cows, you also see that they're very happy as well with all of the bells. I love the scenes. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I can relate to that feeling as well, because like born and raised and living in a hustle city like Toronto and Hanoi, and you were in Berlin, so as well, right? People are always like hustling. The step is like 2 or 3 times faster compared to like the northern like Europe, like Sweden, Norway and stuff, right? So always on the go. I love that calm vibe back then in Switzerland.
How do you have all of these traveling decisions? Did you choose just by looking at TikTok? Do you have TikTok back then already? Or
no, I don't.
I
never use TikTok. So that's like
good for you.
I'm not a typical Gen Z person that you can imagine, but I would say like Europe is always on my bucket list, right? So whichever cities I have friends in, I would visit, because like it's nice to have local people who knows the perfect restaurant or stores or like sightseeing place to take you there. So wherever towns that I have connections, I go. Other than that, I don't have like a thorough research to my trip. Just bike and wherever it takes me, I go.
Oh, sounds like a good plan. So just going with the flow then.
Yeah, not exactly. Like I need to plan my budget, because like a student back then. So yeah, I don't want to buy over the roof.
I think in general, like some city in Europe is also like kind of affordable, except for, of course, like if you go to Switzerland, the price is a little bit more
Amsterdam
expensive.
is crazy. Paris as well, baggy. Oh my God. Yeah.
Is Toronto is the city that not speaking French or speak French?
No. We the official language in Toronto is English.
Mm-hmm.
It's the French speaking city is Quebec and Montreal.
Yeah.
Do you speak French at all?
No, not a word.
So just German, English, and Viet.
Exactly.
Wow.
But like German is like I can order beer from Oktoberfest, but not more.
How long have you been in Germany?
More than 3 years.
Do you work right now?
Currently, I'm working in Germany. Actually, I try to study German like conversational, but in Berlin, because it's like an international city. So
I see. So you don't have to master German to live in Berlin. Wow.
Yeah. But if you have to live in München, then it's like a different story, because you have to really speak German.
Right. Wow. Yeah. I don't know, like I might move to Berlin after hearing that.
Yeah. I mean, look at me, a person with no German, and then can still alive here. So you would manage.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like back then we in Sweden, they speak Swedish, right? I clueless. The only words that I remember, like recall now, is take, mean thank you. But other than that, like my life is so so miserable back then.
So forget about all of the miserable. So what was your most happy memories that you had in Europe?
Specifically, so I would say it was in two cities, one in Paris and another is in Prague. So let's dive into the Prague city stories. I told you like my dad, he has like some relatives and friends back then. So I always feel like some kind of like nostalgia, like never feel homesick when I was in Prague because 90% exactly what we have in Vietnam. Like live nearby, like what calls it is a supermarket.
Supermarket.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. So everything is very accessible. Food. Oh my God, you don't know. Like I love Asian food. So it's very achievable back then in Prague. Whatever I like in the morning. My host said, "What did you want?" Like for breakfast, I said I want pho, and then it's just appear on the table like 5 or 10 minutes later. Like I can order whatever I want just like a casual morning in Hanoi. So I love the food and people. They're so welcoming and friendly back then. That's why I feel the sense of belonging. And yeah, the community is very strong. People are connected, supportive to each other, helping out each other to build their own businesses. So the Viet community is very thrive, like as long as I know them, just for short amounts of time. The second one, Bagi. So I spent just very Monday time, like 4 days in Bali, but I stayed there over the New Year Eve. So I saw the firework. I also stayed with my like friend's friend apartment right in the central Bali. So the city of lights and city of beautiful, city of love, right? You can name it.
The city of everything.
Yeah, city of everything. It's quite like hustle back then. You need like I heard bad story about like robbery, like pickpocketing, but I never had that kind of experience. Maybe because I was just a local, you know. Yeah, every memory I got from that baggy trip was glamorous city, city of lights. Everything is over the top.
Did you try some croissant?
Yeah, the croissant like it's 100% different with what I what I have like
really.
Yeah, in my 20 years life, you know, with the pizza and spaghetti in Italy as well, right? So it makes it so super simple, super soft, but it's just chef kiss. So it's a difference. It's difference, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So when I tell my Italian friend that we usually put the pineapples on the pizza and they looking at me like I'm the monster.
Question for you. Do you like pineapple on pizza? Yes or no?
Pineapple in canh chua.
Oh, yeah. Sour
so that's the only that's the only
so
thing that I like.
you are not pineapple people at all. Okay.
No. And you?
Me on the contrary, I love it.
Really?
Yeah,
it's
adorable. Like I'm a fruit person. Like I can eat everything, but I love fruit. So I can't finish my meal without having a dessert or like a plate of fruit. So everything fruit related, I love it. And I think it's an innovative idea to put some fruit on fast food. You know, like a healthy, try a healthy combo, something fruity and something fast food.
So you don't feel guilty when you eat fast food because at least you have, you know, like some healthy food on there.
No guilt trip. No.
Interesting. Yeah, you've been to a lot of countries, and of course, there were some encounters with the local people. The story about the Swiss people who giving back your phone was absolutely beautiful. Is there any special encounters that you have with the local people, and it's changed your perspective and, you know, changed the way that you think about that country?
So back in Prague, we have like kind of like a road trip to Belgium and Slovakia. So at first I have zero idea what Slovakia is. Just quick Google search and the very first results I received is Slovakia as one of the poorest country in Europe and blah blah blah. So when we traveling like taking a road trip from Prague to Slovakia, my dad and his friend kind of like stop at the market and gas station to have some snack to keep us like awake during the long trip. We have kind of like a feast back then with beer, with bread, like sandwiches, buy everything and put it as a trunk when we were staying overnight in Slovakia. Unfortunately, over the night, someone broke into our car and like took all the wine, beer, just food. There's nothing like valuable back then that we put in the car. But they just choose us on the internet. But I met a few quite like Viet people in Slovakia and Prague as well. They are very like hardworking, diligent people. Quite a few immigrants as well. I know I'm a privileged people. I grew up in a city, so I never can understanding their story. Like just breaking out from poverty, traveling like half of the world to get a better life and maybe like supporting their family back in Vietnam. But by talking to them, hearing their like immigrant story, I have like a huge respect for such people coming there at a very young age. Like I went to Canada at 18 years old. I have everything, two luggages, full of dream, but I have like a full support from my family, economically and emotionally. So I cannot imagine like what they like indulge from all the hardship back then from an immigrant's perspective. I have a huge respect for these people.
Yeah, definitely. I think that not only that they have the determination, they have the grit to start a new life, but also that they have to sacrifice a lot back in their hometown as well. So in the future, is there any bucket list or the country that you want to explore next?
Of course. I have two. First one is Iceland. Second one would be Santorini, Greece. Why Iceland? I lay over in Iceland for around like 2 or 3 hours, but the last thing I want to see before I die is the Northern Lights, you know. So I must.
You have the whole life ahead of you.
Yeah, but I must see Northern Lights before like my last breath. So it's on my next list. The Northern Lights in Iceland, and then Santorini is well known for their beaches, like hot air balloon. You can like go over internet and see like the white and blue dome churches picture of Santorini. Yeah, that's the islands I really want to explore next.
Okay, so Iceland and Santorini.
Yeah. Have you been there?
No,
Greece or Iceland?
No, I haven't been to Greece and Iceland, but Iceland is also definitely on my bucket list to see the Northern Lights.
If you
also
go
before
to
my last breath.
if you go to Iceland, maybe take a chance to come over to Canada. It's like 2 or 3 hours flight to Canada. Not
really?
So
That's
that
close?
5 hours. Like Iceland is like in the middleman between Europe and North America. 6 hours flight, non-stop flight. Yeah,
but not very close. But of course, I always want to go to Canada. Like I've always seen all of the, like mountains and the lake, very big lake. So
we have top-notch nature.
Of course.
Yeah.
Coming from Vietnam with the Eastern kind of culture, and then you go to Canada with more of the Western culture. When you first go to Canada, do you have like any culture shock? Of course, now it's not shocking to you, but back then?
100%, for sure. Have lots of culture shock. So like back in Hanoi, my family is huge. So I feel like I always have the kind of like attentions and the love around me. Like everyone is so like community based in Asia, right? But here in the West, people are very like individualism. They don't care about each other's stuff that much. Why in Asia, it's just a community sense. So I know like absolutely no one here before coming to Toronto, and lack of a lot of social skill, like survival skill. So I don't have that many friends here in Toronto like I was in Hanoi. So definitely, I don't feel homesick at all, but definitely changing the setting, changing living environment were a hardship to me. But I'm an outgoing person. Wherever I feel dull or bored, or like I have mental breakdown or something, I just travel, like just get everything on the luggage. It's like a way to escape the reality, not staying in the forward unit apartment, and then meeting new people, traveling to different city. That's a way of me escaping the reality, I would say.
So traveling is kind of like your remedies to, like overcome hardship.
It's a therapy, expensive therapy.
Thank you so much for all of the sharing. I really enjoy talking with you today. As you coming from Gen Z, I also noticed that there are some different. Have you ever go traveling with other people, like coming from different generations? And how do you see the different when you go together with them?
Definitely, yes. If my parents count.
I think they're coming from Gen X, right?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know. Maybe they are boomer.
Okay.
I don't know. I have zero idea about that, like kind of lingual baby boomer from 46 to 64. So no. So later than that. Okay. But my parents, I travel with them with the break trip, like the break road trip to Slovakia and Belgium. Yes, with my dad's friend. But to be honest, like I don't see that much stereotype in XYZ then. To be overall, most of my friends are in their 30s. They are my close best friends. So I would say I have I'm also, what's the difference? For the elderly, they have more demanding, of course, to accommodations, like with us or with my same age friends, we can clash over some stranger house, like for example, in Airbnb, right? Or stay as a host. But my parents or the other people, they cannot do that. Like they don't get the idea, like the business model of Airbnb, stay in in a no security, no room services. So they don't feel that makes sense at all. The way we travel is like the destination is quite a difference as well. So my parents, they want to visit a place for pleasure, while us we can take risks, go hiking, just hit the internet and like whatever dangerous or risky places we want to visit, we might just kind of like unplanned it and take a bus and go there. But some people are very like meticulous, details oriented person, right? They just don't want anything like unexpectancies happening during the trip.
I totally feel you with that. My parents even have to rent a tour, the whole tour, if they want to go on the trip. And of course, they would never get the idea of, do you know that in each city they would have like a free walking tour where you go with a group of people, and then after that you would donate the money. It's around 2 or 3 hours, but then they cover most of the city.
And it's hosted by local people now, or is that just a bunch of tourists?
It is hosted by someone really knowledgeable about the place. The participant always a bunch of tourists that want to know about the city in just 2 or 3 hours.
What app is that on? What is it called?
Free walking tour.
Free walking tour. Noted.
You can
try
also
it on my next trip.
And you can also try to go on the tour in your own city, because they also tell a lot of story that you have never known about the city as well.
Exactly.
Very interesting. I think what you mentioned here is also like something different between you and me as well. Of course, I'm not like a 100% planned person, but whenever it comes to like risky activity, I'm always, like thinking
not that risky, 100%. Like I know my limits. I wouldn't like bungee jumping from like a 40 or 50 meters tower. No, I wouldn't do that. I was like need to like consider the risks and reward the balance. But I would say I'm an adventurous and risky person for sure.
Cool. And I think that something that a little bit more risky is what that makes the trip exciting. And I actually really want to try it like once a year, any kind of activities.
Like hiking or going to a remote area that is not even on the map.
So I always have in my mind, maybe go camping, that you just have a tent or something similar.
Yes, it's very difficult. They have some service when you can rent like a proper house or unit in a forest.
Yeah.
So it's booming right now. For people like me, like I want a proper washroom, a proper bed, bunk. It's made to exploit people like me.
That, and also I like skiing as well. So I always go with beginner's line and with my instructor. So in the future, I would just level myself up, like try more difficult.
Do you have snow in Germany?
We have a lot in the south part of Germany. Also a lot of other activity, paragliding as well in Switzerland.
What about parachute? Would you jump out of the airplane?
No. I don't think that I would dare to do. And you?
I'm kind of
would you do
I'm kind of afraid of height.
Me too.
I like what I can control. I like speed. I like racing. I love watching Formula F1. I think they have race in Germany because it's like automobile country. Why not?
Yeah, of course.
Mercedes, Volkswagen.
But I've never heard of like the F1 racing.
Maybe not
where they organize it.
Whatever I can control, enjoyable. But the idea of people pushing me out of the plane on the thin air is not for me. It's not what I can control, so I don't like that. If you put me on like a 100 kilometers per hour car, I can deal with that.
You can be on any car in Germany and it would be more than 100 kilometers per hour, because in Germany we don't have the limit for the vehicle. On the highway, you don't have the limit. Yeah.
No way. But it's like some crazy people like go with a sports car, right? With a sports car like Ferrari, they can go over 200 easily. Oh my gosh. If that's happening here, I can't imagine. People here are crazy. There's always like accidents happening on the highway every single day.
Everyone in Germany loves the idea of no limit on the Autobahn. What they call the highway is the Autobahn. I think if you really want to learn German, then you should go to any city in the south, and then you like automatically pick up the new words easily, because all of them would speak German to you.
I stayed in Halle and then I took a train or something to Berlin.
I've never been to Halle.
A small city, a small town, to be honest. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And all of them are white. There's none Asian people except me and my friends. It's the same in the Nordics as well. When I was staying in Sweden, I'm the only, me and like my other friends, the exchange student, we're only Asian. But that dude, he's like Canadian Asian. So it's me is only poor Asian, brown Asian in there in the school.
Yeah. Yeah, time is almost running up. And so in every episode, I would always ask my guests a question. But I think the first question you already answered at the beginning. So I would ask the second one. In case that you would be traveling with anyone, it can be your friends, your idol, anyone you pick. Who would you pick to go travel with?
Wow, that's a tough question.
On a 10 days trip.
Oh my gosh! Everywhere in the world, on the planet,
anywhere.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Why?
His name just pop up. Like he's handsome, and he gets all the attentions. And I heard one of his speech on the internet, like on the video. He said he never have a proper holiday with his kids or with his significant ones, because that person he got the attention everywhere he goes. So he never single one go to a public park with the children before. Every places he went to is a very private place. So if no one in the very like sci-fi scenario, unrealistic scenario, if no one recognizes, I want to travel to a hustle city with Cristiano Ronaldo.
That's a good choice. if you like football, then you can talk all day with him.
No, I am clueless about football, zero terminology or lingo about football.
But at least he's handsome.
I can talk about other stuff, I go to the gym and I'm sure that he's
Okay, of course.
interested in cars and speed as well. So yeah, I will follow away.
Cool, that's an interesting choice, I have to say. Do you have anything to say to encourage people to go more on the trip and to venture more into the world?
I would say be open-minded. You don't know what type of people lead to, like the opportunities will come up along the way. I met some interesting people, like normal or professional people. Some of the people I met along the way actually keep in touch with them. They give me great life advice, and sometimes that person lead me to another people that was so helpful and valuable in my career path. So definitely go out more, just be open-minded, smile a lot. Yeah, open your mind and good thing will come.
Beautiful sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you a lot. And I think that's the end of our podcast. Thank you for joining today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Bye now.